Just so we're clear on the scale of the issue, each electric vehicle battery for a heavy-duty truck weighs 8,000 pounds, and you need at least 2 of them. So we're talking the weight of, 4 or 5 cars. And my friends and peers in the industry nationwide who have tried to make efforts to put in, say, hey, I'm going to convert a dozen forklifts to electric, or I want to tee up a facility for 30 electric trucks. There's no power. The utilities come back, the cities come back and say, is this some kind of joke?
Allegedly.
One friend tried to put in Illinois a facility, tee it up for 30 trucks electrification. The city came back and said, this is some kind of joke. You're asking for more draw than the entire city requires. And just to give you an idea, 30, 50 trucks, that's like a 5-6 megawatt application. The factory that makes the trucks is a 2 megawatt factory.
Tesla S will not charge in the cold. Stranded on Christmas
19
Eve.
miles left before the battery is dead. Yesterday I tried this and it said to wait for the battery to warm up. I have had the car running with the climate control. I tried to charge in my house. It won't let me. So there is no way to charge this battery or let it warm up in the cold. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to show you.
Shout out to the Dom Natty Show. Right there.
This is the message I get. Battery is heating. Keep charge cable inserted. Okay. It's 1:11. 1 hour later. Battery is heating. Keep charge cable inserted.
An hour later.
19 miles. 3:03. Almost 2 hours later. Battery is heating. 19 miles.
This is why you don't buy an EV.
The Hummer's the problem. The charge stations are the problem. I have no idea. Fairly easy. We just increased our range to 98 miles after waiting around for 45 minutes. But the real question, how much did it cost? I am actually in shock right now. We just sat here for 41 minutes. It cost me $19.80, and we added an additional 64 miles for $20. It is more expensive to charge an EV, plus we had to sit here for 41 minutes.
Allegedly. Allegedly, of course. So yeah, my question to you all is, if any of you own an electric vehicle, what has been your experience with your electric vehicle? As you guys just saw, there are quite a number of folks out there who aren't having a great time, and I think the story behind electric vehicles isn't fully being told. And that's what we're going to be diving into a little bit today. So like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and let's dive in.
The Biden administration is pushing Americans to transition to electrical vehicles.
Expensive electric
While they claim
vehicles.
cars can drive clean, the process to assemble those cars, not so clean.
And power them. So let's go off the wall to learn about the real cost of the electric vehicle revolution. So, well, we know Joe's pushing it. There he is with his mask on in the electric car in that previous slot. But if you're going to create the batteries that power these cars, and by the way, it's not just cars. What about our trucking industry? What about our truckers that move everything across our country? You need critical minerals. Here's the problem, Will. A lot of them don't come from the United States.
Yeah, we can go through some of the critical minerals that are necessary to make EV batteries and just show you where the primary production is around the world. Lithium, Australia. Now, the key is, on many of these as we go through, as you look at manganese in South Africa, is the U.S. is not one of the world's leading producers of many of these rare earth materials.
That's exactly right. With lithium, they have one production operation in the United States, 0 in the United States. If you look at nickel, there's one mine operating producing a nickel concentrate in the United States of America. Think about massive a geographic area we have, one, as opposed to Indonesia, which has the most production capacity.
Graphite, we talk a lot about China's role in the world and how much they dominate the EV market. Part of
Hey, I might, anybody want to collab with me and open up a nickel mining location? Let me know. Let me know. Hey, only one? Hey, I see opportunity there. I see opportunity. Hit me up in the DM, okay? Instagram or Twitter.
that, part of it, is because of what they have at home. Look at what they can bring in when it comes to graphite and then cobalt.
And then there's cobalt. the Congo has the highest level of production there. We're going to dive a little bit into the Congo as well, where China's making a big play. Again, only one domestic mining operation. So
Hey, nickel and cobalt, we can open both. Talk to me.
if you have one vulnerability, you have almost all of those vulnerabilities because you need these components to create the batteries. We don't have just one, we have a ton of them.
You bring up Congo. Now, Congo, as you just pointed out, is the leader in several of these materials that are necessary. They have around 2/3 of the world's cobalt, which we just showed you. They're also part of the greater African domination of copper.
And, you know, you've got the geopolitical concerns over why this is significant because China is working so hard to take more and more control over what goes on in the Congo. But then you have the human rights concerns, the reality of a form of modern-day slave labor where you have young local kids being exploited. And basically, in a lot of these scenarios,
And I've come across some videos of some really young kids, at least it looks like they're very young kids, basically digging with, it looks like their hands, to try to get these, you know, these minerals for these, you know, fantastic electric cars, you know, that we must have. I think even California just signed a bill to ban new production of gas. What do you call them? Sheesh, Luis, I'm drawing a total blank right now. Excuse me. Gas semi trucks. Sheesh, I could not think of semi. I kept thinking of pickup. I was like, that's not the word. Not a pickup truck. I believe it's gas. Semi trucks. Sheesh. Whoa, what is happening to me today? I cannot think of semi. Goodness gracious. But which is just absolutely ridiculous because I mean when you really break it down, how are you congregating all of these materials? Are you using electric, you know, machinery at the mines? I haven't seen one. Maybe they exist, but last time I checked, all of those big, heavy machines that are digging through earth, you know, those are run on gas. Last time I checked, do we have electric planes or boats that simply run on electric to transport things from one continent or one country to another? Last time I checked, those don't exist. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong. I could totally be wrong, you know, so don't hit me with no misinformation. I could totally be wrong. This could be false. But as far as I know, they don't exist. So you're transporting them with gas. You're getting them out of the ground with gas, but it's supposed to be better? I don't know. I'm just a little confused. And then on top of that, I've seen, and as a matter of fact, I posted a short where a guy was at a electric charging station and there was a backup generator connected to that electric charging station that was run on, you guessed it, gas. But then on top of that, and this is the last thing, where do the electric companies get their electricity? How do they generate that electricity? Is it all from wind turbines and you know, falling out of thin air? But I'll rest my case.
The decision is, do I go to school, learn more, empower myself, or do I work in a really dangerous, dirty mine in order to feed my family? And these big companies, they've got plenty of labor. They say, take your choice.
So it reveals the conflicting priorities or the inherent hypocrisy in, on one hand, saying we want to make the world better for human rights, but at the same time we want electrical vehicles. Or we want to make the world better for climate change and the environment, but we also want electrical vehicles. Because look at this, what's happening in Africa. It's not just the human rights abuses, it's also what happens to farmland, to actually the environment. Mm-hmm. When you spend so much time looking for things like bauxite, which is used to make aluminum, a replacement for the metal in most of our cars.
That's right, because if you want a battery to power your car, steel is much heavier, so you switch to aluminum. You got to have those products in order to do it, and they're tough to get at. So mining companies are acquiring hundreds of square miles for operations, and Will, to your point, it's almost this idea of if we're going to save the environment,
got to destroy the environment.
We have to destroy the environment at the same time. So there's a study out there showing that more than 200,000 acres of farmland will be destroyed in Guinea in order to mine bauxite.
So
Who
look,
knew?
environment and human rights abuses. At the same time, you are making this push for electric vehicles. Then there's the national security implications. What have you done when you empower those that actually have those rare earth materials? The United States of America is one of the world's leaders in fossil fuels. That's the source of our independence. That's the source of our strength. So if we shift to this electrical model, who benefits? Who has the resources? Who has the world's power? Well, the answer you're not going to like.
Yeah.
It's China.
China does. GWH's gigawatt hours, I think of Doc from Back to the Future, gigawatt, 77% of it is created in China. Fast forward, if you're just looking in a glimpse into the future, speaking of the future a bit, that doesn't change all that much. They're still at the top of that pyramid. United States at 10%, a few other countries in there as well, but that means they've got the market cornered on what we're obsessed with, which is electric vehicles.
Yeah, and that's because not only do they have some of these materials at home, but it's because they've already got out there in the world, they've gotten to South America, they've gotten into Africa, and they have set up the relationships to bring those materials to China to make the EVs that we now not want, but are compelled by the government to buy.
And ironically,
Yeah, and most of you have spoken about how you don't want an EV. I don't want one either, personally. So, yeah, this whole idea that so many people want EVs, I'm not buying it personally. I haven't seen it. Maybe there is, this great or vast demand for EVs out there, but I personally have not seen it. And, on top of that, I almost feel like there's an agenda, and I don't have any facts to back this up. This is just speculation. This is just me, observing things, okay? So don't hit me with no misinformation, okay? This is just my personal opinion. I think there is an agenda to push China to be what the U.S. currently is. For the U.S. to fall and China to be the new U.S., to take the U.S.'s place as like the dominant force. Not for China to change any of their politics or how they operate, but for them to now be, the number one country in the world. And I have my speculation as to why that is. And maybe I'll make a video soon, diving a little bit deeper into why I think that is and, some of the things that I've seen that cause me to believe that. But let me know if you guys have some of the same thoughts about that in the comment section. I really am a little concerned about some of the stuff that I've been seeing, glorifying China and all of this other stuff, things that I personally feel like are pushing China up and bringing us down, like this that we see on the screen here is one situation. I don't know. It's concerning, but like I said, y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section.
we're subsidizing so much of this push for EV by giving credits and others for certain types of vehicles. So it's taxpayer dollars that are going to support the ability for China to corner that market. So we talk about this electric vehicle.
Yeah, almost like paying for our own demise.
A little bit. And we've got a graphic as well that shows the types of components. So if you look over here, an all-electric vehicle, we talked about cobalt, that's the battery. See the bottom floor of the vehicle there? The battery's no longer in the front powering the engine or other components of the car. It's in the bottom.
Yeah, take a look. That's the car, everything that's going into it, and where these materials go into it. You can see, as Pete pointed out, the battery. You can see the portions of the vehicle made from aluminum, which is we talked about bauxite that comes from places in Africa. And then you can see the dependence upon copper when it comes to the other elements in the electric traction motor. So the entire EV vehicle, there you have it, from the materials in Africa to the power in China, and what it means if you want to go green for America.
If you want to go green, and maybe you're not even going green at all. And what happens if you want to take that road trip across the country? Maybe not in one of Joe's vehicles, but your family vehicle. You still don't know where.
A Hummer EV? Goodness gracious. Yeah, those things are massive. The Hummer EVs. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the way they look, especially the inside. I like the interior of the Hummer EVs, but I personally would never buy one. One, they're crazy expensive. And two, I just don't want an electric vehicle, you know? I feel like it would be more of a hassle to have one of these big, massive boats than just a gasoline car that I could just pull up to a gas station and fill up in, you know, a couple of minutes and be off on about my business. Versus, you know, what we've seen and heard from some folks who have these EVs. For some folks, they have to literally sit for hours trying to charge their vehicle. I got stuff to do. There's only 24 hours in a day, and to charge a boat like that? Listen, I'm all for, you know, taking care of the planet, you know what I mean? Or whatever else, but that might be the line for me. I'm not about to waste my time, you know, putting, like, if I had to sit and put gas in my car for 2 hours, I might call it Uber. Legit, like, I have stuff to do. Time is the most valuable thing that we all have. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care how special of a person you are, how nice you are. You cannot buy more time. You can't. I mean, some people might say, yeah, I can buy time because I can have somebody. That's not buying more time. That's freeing up the time you already have. That's not buying more time, technically speaking. You can't add more time by spending money, you know? So no, I'm not wasting my time, you know, trying to charge my vehicle. No, not happening. But hey, maybe I'm alone on an island by myself. Y'all let me know how y'all feeling about this in the comment section below. Shout out to all of the folks that I used, you know, at the beginning of the video. And yeah, y'all let me know how you feeling about this. Talk to me. Peace and love. I'm out.